Our inspirational talk today is being offered by Reverend Leslie. She is a minister of the Inner Spiritual Center. She is also the founder and owner of her own Intercom Reiki, and is quite busy doing all kinds of baking and growing and cooking and all of these kind of things that she also is so interested in doing, and looking at things from a perspective of what is natural, what is being part of this world mean. She is our technical wizard behind all of these services, and putting up the music and getting these things put on our YouTube channel for us, and just everything that we appreciate about what Leslie brings to this center and what she brings to this community. So for her talk, I will now introduce Reverend Leslie.
Thank you, Sharon, so much for that beautiful introduction. I'm so honored to be here, and to not just be here, to do this talk, but as a student of Inner Spiritual Center, as a member of our center, and also as your minister. It's never my intention to ramble on or be self-serving, so I do hope that my talk is received in the light that it's intended. So good morning, everyone. Good afternoon to some. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, said everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And isn't our perception and attitude really what makes or breaks how we deal with any given situation? Frankl also said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Years ago, I had a friend who unfortunately passed from cancer. And just prior to her passing, I was visiting with her, and she asked if I would do Reiki on her, as I had done many times before. Only this time she sat up afterwards and she was crying. Of course, I immediately asked her if she was okay, and she responded that she was actually better than okay. She said it was the first time that while I was working on her, she saw her life flash before her eyes and realized how blessed she had been, how grateful she was for everyone she loved and for everyone who loved her. And I could just see the peace wash over her as she said she was ready for whatever came next. And although the healing didn't work on her physical condition, there certainly was soul healing that day. She was able to shift her perspective from fear to acceptance that everything would be okay. Afterwards, she asked me about my spiritualist beliefs, and I was happy to share with her. I also told her about my own near-death experience and the beauty and unconditional love that awaits us all. I told her I have no fear of what comes next, and I think she was comforted by that too. After she passed, I was able to share with her family and friends the lovely note that she had sent to me, where she said that she was at peace with her passing, and in turn it brought peace to her loved ones as well. She was a fighter and an inspiration to everyone who knew her. Whether it be cancer, another illness or disease, or any number of difficult situations, many people would find it hard to accept them. Some may even fall into victim why me mode, or think it was a punishment, or that they somehow caused it, made even worse if they believed that they deserved it. Sometimes bad things just happen. Others believe there's a lesson in it, and perhaps there is. Her passing certainly taught me a lot about living an attitude of gratitude, and I truly am so grateful for every day, whatever it may bring. Another woman I know never said, why me? In fact, she said, why not me? Why shouldn't I experience what so many others have? And if not me, then who? Even before going to her doctor, she knew something was wrong, so she wasn't surprised by her breast cancer diagnosis. She prayed for the best possible scenario, and prayer answered it was just stage 1. It was hard for her to ask for help, but someone wise told her she needed to and that it was okay. Perhaps it was even part of her lesson. Sometimes, especially when you're a giver, it's hard to ask for help, but in not doing so, you may be depriving someone else of their good karma. Unlike what most people think, karma is not In fact, I believe that karma is very fair and just and works both ways. So she did ask for help. She reached out to her spirit team and to family and friends, many of whom were healers in their own right, and she assembled her own healing team. She didn't announce it publicly, partly because she's a very private person, but mostly, I think, because she didn't want anyone to feel sorry for her. She felt that whatever happened, she would be at peace with it, whether she was meant to continue her work in the physical or in spirit. Her preference, of course, being in the physical. And so she prayed, and they prayed. She prayed a full mastectomy wouldn't be necessary, and prayer answered, she would only need a lumpectomy. She prayed that she needed additional treatment, and given a choice, she would take radiation over chemo, and she prayed it would be for the least amount of time necessary. Prayer answered, radiation, 4 weeks instead of 8. And right about now, you might be thinking, why didn't she just pray for miraculous healing? Why didn't she just ask the cancer to go away? And to be honest, I don't think it ever crossed her mind. Somehow asking for small miracles instead made sense, and that's how she received them, as miracles, and she was very grateful for them. She just decided that for whatever reason, she was meant to have this experience, and that she would do it with grace and gratitude, and of course, a sense of humor. When she started her 21 days of radiation, she decided to dedicate each day to someone who supported her along the way. And on those days that she was receiving what she called her love zaps, she would send out love and appreciation and follow it with a text or a call to let that person know how much she appreciated them. And every day she would leave a post-it note with a positive message in the locker room, not only for herself, but for anyone else who would pass through those doors. Just to give you a visual what that looked like. Day 1, beautiful warrior, you got this. Day 2, our physical bodies can endure more than we realize. Luckily, none of it happens to our soul, which is untouched by the physical. Day 3, it's okay to not be okay every day, but you still have to show up. You have breath in your body for a reason. You are not a waste of creation. You exist because the world needs you and the universe believes in you. Day 4, you are a mighty oak tree, and although you may sway in the wind and lose a branch here and there, you never lose your footing. You are sound and you are strong. Day 5, a heart can hold a tremendous amount of love and at the same time a tremendous amount of sorrow too. When there's an overflow, tears will fall to lessen the burden. It's okay, let them fall. Day 6, we all come into the world with a bucket. Some will fill it and others will attempt to punch holes in it. Be with people who fill it. Another day it said, my body is the only one I have. It allows me to do the things I love and to be here for the people I love. I am healing my body. Another day it said, we fall, we break, we fail, we rise, we heal, we overcome. And one of my favorites, make today so awesome that yesterday gets jealous. Those are just a few of the notes she left behind, and every day after treatment, she would take a walk to reflect and to pray some more. And since 21 days also forms a habit, the good news is she's still taking those gratitude walks. During her treatments, she also envisioned the dying cancer cells being embraced by healthy new ones and being sent off with love. She could see it and she could feel it within her body. Radiation went well enough with only minor skin issues at the end of 21 days. And at the end of 21 days, she brought the radiologist cookies and a thank you note expressing her appreciation for them and thanking them for being a part of her healing team as well. And then she walked out of those doors vowing never to return. Next step of her journey, cancer medication for 5 to 10 years. Prayers again, that it only be 5, and then total remission. And that's where she's at right now, but has no reason to think this prayer won't be answered too. Perhaps you can send out some healing thoughts for her and anyone else dealing with difficult situations, health or otherwise. Nothing about that experience was pleasant really, but I think the right attitude, some blind faith, and a really good sense of humor can get us through just about anything. Not to mention having a really awesome team of healers at your side. Although the situation wasn't pleasant, she knew the importance of a positive attitude and did her best to help to just maintain that attitude. No one is to blame for her cancer. It just is what it is. She wasn't being punished. She didn't abuse her body. And in fact, she was very careful about what she ate. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't drink. She doesn't do drugs. She doesn't have a high stress job and isn't burdened by some of the things that many are concerned about. It's not that she doesn't care. In fact, she cares too much. But she has the power to choose what she will allow and what she won't. And if you're not sure yourself, just ask yourself this one question. At the end of the day, does it really matter? She's not wealthy, but lives comfortably enough because she doesn't require much. Enough is all she needs. For her, material objects don't equate to joy. She's happy with her old house and her old car. She feels closest to God in her garden, and that's her happy place. That's where she talks to spirit and is often given insight that she might otherwise miss if she was too caught up in the rat race. Don't get me wrong, it's not that she doesn't know pain and suffering. In fact, just quite the opposite. She grew up poor and knows what it's like to do without. She was abused, abandoned, and suffered heartbreak more times than she could count. She lost most of the people who meant the world to her and had to learn to go on without them. And yet she's so grateful to be alive and to get to experience every aspect of this journey we call life. She's not a victim of things that happened to her, but rather a witness. She's able to forgive and let go and enjoys the tremendous amount, a sense of peace that comes with that and being able to let go. And just to be able to feel so deeply as she does, what a humbling and beautiful gift. She's not mad at cancer. In fact, she's even grateful to it for letting her know that something was wrong with her body so that she could work towards healing it. Challenges don't scare her. They allow her to go even deeper within to find solutions and to have even more meaningful experiences. She trusts the guidance of her spirit team, and they never let her down. And sometimes it just takes seeing the world through different eyes, different lens, as if seeing it for the first time. She stops to smell the roses and refuses to get caught up in the chaos. And chaos, of course, really just being a state of mind. It's just our perception of the circumstances before us. Take a breath, step back, refocus, repeat until it becomes a habit. Give no one permission to rob you of your peace. There are solutions to every problem if you just allow yourself to be in the quiet and trust that it will present itself, and then let it go. Because the one thing we're famous for is holding on to hurt, to anger, to disappointment. We've heard it a million times. Forgiving is about you, not the other person. We're flawed, every one of us. Very few, if any, will love us the way we need to be loved. No one can possibly know or fulfill every one of our needs, and it's not their job to do so. Their betrayal, their anger, their pain is for them to work out. All you can do is work on yourself. Let it go and send it off with love so that you can go on with experiencing all that life has to offer you. Forgive them and forgive yourself. When Sharon asked me a few weeks ago if I would do the talk today, I wasn't sure what I wanted to share. But then I saw a post on Facebook which simply said, "One day you will tell your story of how you overcame what you went through, and it will become someone else's survival guide." My story is far from over, but I hope in some way what I shared today inspires you to live a life of gratitude, to have faith, and to trust that God and your spirit team always have your back. And isn't it nice to know that we're not alone? Life is a series of experiences and lessons to be learned, and it's nice to know we have support. Above all else, it's about love. So never waste an opportunity to tell someone that you appreciate them, because I think we all need to hear that from time to time. As Frankl said, our attitude may really be the only thing we have total control over. During the most difficult time in his life, Frankl, who spent 3 years in concentration camps, starved, beaten, and worked nearly to death, still managed to find some beauty and something to be grateful for, and he survived. So the right attitude is so much more than we realize. It doesn't just help us through a situation, it gets us through it. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. I've come to understand that although we go through experiences as part of this physical state, and that even though our bodies may at some point fail us with illness, disease, it really is only a condition of the vessel that carries us, because our soul is always intact and always perfect. Our soul doesn't get cancer or diseases. It only suffers because it's aware of our suffering, and it's always working to heal us. The ability to overcome and to heal is within us all. I always do my best to move through difficult times with as much grace as I can. Figuring out how to obtain peace and get through this lifetime can be quite the task. Well, challenge accepted. I can live until I die, and I can't worry about what's in between. All I can do is experience it. Thank you for allowing me to experience it with you. God bless.